Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And I must give you all an apology. Of course, in my video about the roads being blocked when you go up to the Drakensberg, and I made the comment that summer is the peak of the tourism season, and that should have been obviously winter, because it's the middle of winter and the Drakensberg is absolutely stunning when it's covered in snow. And that's why people flock to the Drakensberg during the winter season. But of course, as I said in the earlier video, with the roads blocked, not so good. Now, this is a shout out to Marlena, who sent me this very interesting reminiscence of her time in the Drakensberg and in KwaZulu-Natal. And she writes, "Saw and reminisced about my life in that area. Your video on the Underberg, but a correction. You stated that in the middle of the summer and their tourist season. But remember, it is now in the middle of the coldest time of winter here in South Africa. And lots of snow in that area. And yes, the greatest attraction this time of the year is the snow on the mountains, especially the area going over the top of the mountains, i.e. Sani Pass to Lesotho." Anyway, she goes on to say, "There is not really an off-peak season in Underberg. The tourists love going to the Berg, as they call it, to enjoy pristine, for how long? Nature, the hiking trails, the beautiful farm dams, trout fishing, kayaking, horse trails, etc. I'm going to attach a video to this intro of when I was at Champagne Castle. And I went for this incredible walk to, what is it called? The Sphinx, I think it's called. In the little Drakensberg. Absolutely magnificent part of the world. It's so sad what these thugs are doing in the townships. Anyway, let's get back to what Marlena says. She says, "I lived in Moy River as a child, thereafter on a small farm in Rosetta and later Nottingham Road, where we had another farm right next to the current highway, coming from Moy River Way. On the left, just before the flyover to Nottingham Road. Studied in Durban, and from residence high up in Umbilo, could catch a bus for 6 cents per trip to the main post office in Durban. Got off there and walked the approximately 3 blocks to the beach. Safe all the way. Never even gave a robbery a thought. Left our belongings on the beach while swimming and nothing ever disappeared. Let me rather not explain why it is not so anymore, as I may find myself in the position as poor and recently passed Penny Sparrow. At night we loved walking on the beach front or just sitting on the sand, especially at full moon. So safe." You know, I remember those times too, Marlena. I had a girlfriend. She still lives in Port Shepstone, by the way, but I was a teenager and she was studying in Durban, and we used to go and walk on the beach and cuddle, and there was that amusement park. Remember the amusement park where they had the little tokens and you'd put them in the slot and you'd play all sorts of different types of games or challenges, and had the bumper cars there. And, you know, you could walk around there at night, walk across the beach, you could do whatever you wanted, and there was never ever a thought of anything, you know, coming up against you in a violent way. How times have changed. Anyway, getting back to Marlena's comment, she says, "After 7 years in Port Shepstone, I moved to Pietermaritzburg till the end of 2009, after having been retrenched twice in a row, then came to Krugersdorp for a good job, where daughter-in-law has been employed for 18 years. Now, again, it's just amazing how our paths crisscross here, because I know Port Shepstone well. As I said, my girlfriend at the time now lives in Port Shepstone, and her name is Moira. And I went to school in Pietermaritzburg. Gee, it's a small world, isn't it? And then, just to top it off, I actually lived in Krugersdorp for quite a long while. Anyway, getting back to Marlena's comments, and I do apologize for my interruptions. She says, "Not 18 months later, this business went bankrupt and everybody lost their job. Thereafter, it was impossible to find another job, given my age and my skin color. Back in Pietermaritzburg, I lived on the hill next to Queen Elizabeth Park and the country club, had 180-degree views over the city and forests, only a few kilometres up the hill to Hilton, where I loved to take the dog for a walk. Remember Town Hill? Going up there, I guess it's not safe to go up there anymore, and just go and look out over Pietermaritzburg. So sad. Anyway, Melina goes on to say, attended a tiny church there, where I actually took my Maltese doggy with me. The most beautiful tucked-away coffee shops, etc. Crisp air, clean everywhere. Sometimes went on to the Midlands meander. Every Sunday took my doggy to see the monkeys along a winding road through thick bush and past the most beautiful stream of water cascading over rocks. One could smell the woods, the water, the goodness of the earth. I miss the simple life. You know what that makes me really think of, Melina? My old school, Michael House, at Balgan in the Natal Midlands, in KwaZulu-Natal. And I used to go running in the hills around Michael House. The one thing I could do when I was young was run long distance. And I would just run and run and run. And the most scintillating experience was when you had this fine rain falling down and you'd run through these fire breaks between huge plantations of pine trees, and the matting of the needles underneath the feet was like a mattress you were running on. It was just absolutely beautiful, and you could smell the pine. It was just I can feel that moment right now. And I'd be running down the hill between these huge pine trees on either side on this little fire break. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, memories are what makes life, you know. Memories are so important to us, all of us. And that's why it's so important to treasure special memories and lock them away. No one can take those away from you. Anyway, Melina goes on to say, between 1999 and 2001, had a relationship with a man who lives in Kokstad. So spent every weekend there. Here we go again, Kokstad. I know Kokstad well. I've often been to Kokstad, have quite a few friends in Kokstad. Winter or summer, it was so lovely. Mornings, very early, we would go micro-lighting over the area. In the afternoon, we would go to the Kokstad Dam with a ski boat, where I also loved to swim in the then pristine dam. Now the dam is so shallow, in winter boating is hardly feasible. That is because one of the largest prisons, having been erected there about 14 years ago, and Kokstad is filthy now, with, as everything else, lots of protests, burnings of tires. At least we, our age, are blessed to have experienced life and nature in all its beauty. While life was simple, now it has become a dream from the past. Very well written, so true. And oh my gosh, how our paths have crossed. Well, the old fart's going to share a video with you now about the Drakensberg and my experience walking from Champagne Castle Hotel up to the Sphinx. And this was taken about 8 years ago now. All right, guys, take care. Remember to subscribe, to keep informed, ring the bell for the updates, and have a great evening. Bye for now. We've just started a walk from Champagne Castle into the Drakensberg, and you can see we're going through this beautiful gum forest. The gums look like they're burnt, but it is so peaceful here. We're the only people on the walk. We've just seen Wales take out Ireland in the quarterfinals of the World Rugby Cup. So this is a great way to sort of get over that moment, seeing that we're both supporting Ireland. But look at this. Listen to the birds. We're a little bit further along the trail, and you can see how pretty the trail is. We've got to go through this bit of thicket, and then we're going out into the grassland and up the mountain. But listen to that brook.
And here it is. This beautiful little stream coming straight out of the mountain and pouring in over there. We're moving out of the forest area now, and as you can see, into the grassland. And isn't that a beautiful protea? Absolutely beautiful. And up ahead of us is this climb, and you can see the proteas lining the sky above us. And this is the valley we're in, and it's quite gorgeous again. Look at those proteas there, the way they shine in the sun. We're at the Bushman paintings at Champagne Castle. You can see they're quite interesting, but certainly not as special as the ones at Rafelgat. While I'm here, I'll give you an idea of the view. This is the little Drakensberg up here above me, and it's quite spectacular. As I move around, you can see the hills and more of the little Drakensberg over there. That's not the proper Drakensberg. That's the mountains which are about 2,000 meters high. The proper Drakensberg's about 1,500 meters higher than that. So it just gives you an idea of how big these mountains really are. It's an absolutely beautiful spot here, and I'll try and zoom in. There's some red flowers over there in the distance, but the colors here are just stunning. We've been walking for about 20 minutes now, and I'm actually standing in the middle of a very small spring that's come straight out the mountain here, and you can see the path it takes going round and then down that way. The bird life here is absolutely amazing. That's the path we've just come along, and we're heading off this way here and up around that way towards the Sphinx, as it's called. But I'll just leave us on for a moment so you can hear the birds. Well, we're walking down into another little river bed type area, and I'm taking some footage because it gives you an idea of how beautiful and natural these walks are. They're certainly not hard. Certainly there are quite a few stairs and it's a bit of a climb, but look at this vegetation we're going through. And you'll hear the sounds of another spring in a moment, and probably lots more birds. But here we are, coming into this beautiful little miniature valley in the Drakensberg. And have a look at this. What a place for a picnic. The water over there, just babbling away. And the moss growing on the trees. You can probably hear the birds. They've gone very quiet now that they've seen us, but there are lots of them here. And we're now into an open part of our walk with magnificent views looking down towards Escort would be through there, the place we've come from. Look at these amazing protea trees. But look at the views down here. Oh, there's a protea. It's still flowering. That's extraordinary. We've been looking for one. And there you go. You can actually see it there. Look at that. I'll go and take a photo of it. This is the view as we approach the Sphinx. You can see the beautiful colours in the background, and these trees that just dot the sky, and look at that beautiful red in the bushes over there. This is absolutely stunning around here. More of these beautiful red, I think they're bottlebrush trees, but just magnificent. We actually just met the first people on the path. It's a lovely quiet path, so it's been lovely so far without other people. And as we climb higher, the views just simply get more beautiful. As you can see, let the camera do the talking. As we climb higher, the views not only get more spectacular, but the path gets more windy, as you can see. And we get these massive rocks which we cut our way through, and it's rather lovely. And it's really quite an easy climb, although it is a climb. We're just going up the contour of the mountain, and have a look at the view as we come around this little corner. How stunning is that? Look at these beautiful rocks above us. Absolutely beautiful. And you can probably see the beautiful red flowers over there in that bush. And all the way up that little gorge, these beautiful red flowers. Isn't it stunning? Beautiful mountain. And then coming around here again to where we're going, which is the Sphinx. That's where we're headed, up this path. We're getting quite close to the Sphinx now. But have a look at this view. Look at that. These trees just hanging from the hills. And in the background you can see Champagne Castle. And if we look right over there, you can see the houses. And we're in one of those rooms facing the mountain. The building right in the center of picture is actually the building that we're staying at while we're at Champagne Castle. And our room is about the third window from the left in the building you can see the complete building of. Absolutely fabulous position to look at the mountain from. We're close to the top of where we want to go, which is to the Sphinx, but I had to take a bit more video of just some of the scenery from this particular location. It is just absolutely amazing. And let's go for a bit of a walk. This is the trail we're going along at the moment, and you can see it just slowly rises as we walk, and it's a very, very easy walk, and the views are spectacular. Look at the grass on those hills over there, just hanging from the cliffs. And look at those mountains. This is getting to the inner part of the little Drakensberg, and in the background you can see the start of the proper Drakensberg, which is so much higher. that's where we're headed. You can see the Sphinx quite clearly in frame, the nose to the right and back of the head to the left. It's a very well-known spot in the Drakensberg, or Little Drakensberg, and spectacular views from there. You can see the path meandering down this way, coming back towards Champagne Castle, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful location, this. And what a perfect day. Look down there. You can just see all the houses, trees, hear the birds, hear the water. It's just gorgeous. It's quite extraordinary what you come across in the mountains. Look at that sign. I mean, how inappropriate is that on the main walk from Champagne Castle to the Sphinx? Here's their private path with the vicious dogs. Obviously we won't be going that way. And again, just some of the scenery here. It's on the path to the Sphinx. As you can see, it's just stunning. These beautiful trees that just break the skyline with their beautiful red flowers. And there's the path we're going to be walking along over there. You can just see the steps down here somewhere. Oh, look at the trees and the valleys. Not as many birds as there were earlier, but the scenery is just magnificent. This is this beautiful natural waterfall that just comes down the rock here very close to the Sphinx. And you can just see how perfect it is. Look at that. How clear the water is. And on either side of the waterfall is this vegetation that just clings to the rocks. Amazing how it does. Look at that, isn't it beautiful? And over there we have some more in the light. And right at the top there you can see three little heads of plants just sticking out. But right up near the top again you can see how the vegetation attaches itself there. I'm not sure. That's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. We're very close to the Sphinx now, and I had to stop here because the panoramic views here are just amazing. And if you look down over there, you can see Champagne Castle. Looks very small there in the distance, but it's actually quite a big resort. And as I pan on further, you can see the mountains and this stunning scenery. There's the water down there that we've just come through, and just absolutely beautiful. That is the Sphinx. We've arrived, and as we scroll around, you can see in the background Champagne Castle, Cathkin Peak. We're obviously much closer to them now, but isn't that a stunning sight? Look at that. Look at the mountains. It's an absolutely perfect day. This is the Drakensberg. Here is another view, just coming back, cutting a bit lower this time, taking in more of the panorama, the mountains, stunning mountains. Look at that. Wouldn't catch me climbing those ones at the top, but anyway. And then around here again, and up we go. And there's a waterfall over there somewhere. You can actually hear it from here, very, very quietly. It is absolutely beautiful here. This is real nature at its best. And in the background you can see Champagne Castle. This is the Sphinx. It doesn't look like it from this angle, being directly below it, but believe me, this is the famous Sphinx in the Drakensberg. It's a massive rock. You'll see the plant clinging to the side of it over there. And this is the Drakensberg in its raw beauty. Look at the vegetation. That's probably birds' nests there, big ones on the rocks there. This is just past the Sphinx, and I'm standing on this large rock that sort of balances on the edge of the valley below, and it's a stunning position. Have a look at that scenery. Listen to the water. Isn't it just beautiful? And of course above we have the Drakensberg. There's another Sphinx which we've just seen right on the edge of a cliff face. It's just amazing, the natural beauty of this Drakensberg. And right up over there, there's a waterfall. And behind it, of course, we have the beautiful Cathkin Peak and Champagne Castle and amphitheatre on its right. It's just a stunning day. You can actually see a fire break, almost like on the contour going down that mountain there, green on the bottom and yellow at the top. So quiet here. So very quiet. No birds even now. We've left them behind. This beautiful flower is actually opening up. We could almost see it open up. It wasn't open when we walked up, and look how much it's opened in about 20 minutes. It's quite beautiful. We're just about finished our walk, and the walk itself has taken about 2 hours. Listen to that little brook. It's actually come into the path, and we're obviously going to have to walk on the rocks around it, but isn't nature wonderful, the way it just finds the easiest course it can? And in this case, the path that when I came down here a few years ago, there was no spring on it, so this is a recent development, and it's quite a tricky climb down because of the rocks you have to use instead of the normal path. But here it joins the main stream, if you can call it that, and then heads off in its own way. Look at that colour. The birds are back. There were no birds at the top. We just about get back in the forest and right up to Champagne Castle, so I thought I'd take a little bit of footage of this little bit of paradise, and you can hear what sounds. Actually, it's a monkey, I think. It's a monkey over there. It's not far away from us either. It's probably behind those, or in those trees in the background somewhere. You get monkeys around here.